Hare Krishna. So, welcome to this daily meditation on the Bhagavad Gita, the words of God, of Lord Krishna. Today, we are going to analyze and continue in chapter 7. And today we have verse number 10. And we put it on the screen for you. Bhagavad Gita 7:10. Bijamam sarva bhutanam vidhi partha sanatanam buddhimatam asmi tejasvinamaham. Sri Prabhupada kindly provided the word-by-word translation so we can actually hear or understand the exact words of Krishna. So Bijam, seed, Mam, me, Sarva Bhutanam, of all living entities, Vidhi, try to understand, Pṛthā, O son of Pṛthā, Sanatanam, original, eternal, Buddhi, intelligence, Buddhimatam, of the intelligence, Asmi, I am. Tejaha, prowess. Tejasvinam, of the powerful. Aham, I am. Translation, O son of Pṛthā, know that I am the original seed of all existences. The intelligence of the intelligent and the prowess of all powerful men. So Krishna is continuing in this series of verses in which he helps Arjuna and by extension all of us to meditate on him, to understand how he is the source of everything and how it is his energy and his representation of him that pervades actually everything, how he is the quality in everything and the source of everything. Let's see the purport. Bijam means seed. Krishna is the seed of everything. There are various living entities, movable and inert. Birds, beasts, men, and many other living creatures are moving living entities. Trees and plants, however, are inert. They cannot move, but only stand. Every entity is contained within the scope of 8,400,000 species of life. Some of them are moving and some of them are inert. In all cases, however, the seed of their life is Krishna. As stated in Vedic literature, Brahman, or the Supreme Absolute Truth, is that from which everything is emanating. Krishna is Parabrahman, Supreme Spirit. Brahman is impersonal and Parabrahman is personal. Impersonal Brahman is situated in the personal aspect. That is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, originally, Krishna is the source of everything. He is the root. As the root of a tree maintains the whole tree, Krishna, being the original root of all things, maintains everything in this material manifestation. This is also confirmed in the Vedic literature, Katha Upanishad 2.13. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam ekobahunam yovidadati kamam. Is the prime eternal among all eternals. Is the supreme living entity of all living entities, and he alone is maintaining all life. One cannot do anything without intelligence, and Krishna also says that he is the root of all intelligence. Unless a person is intelligent, he cannot understand the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna. Okay, O son of Pṛthā, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. Now, obviously, we understand that the souls are eternal as God. With the analogy of the sun, as soon as the sun exists, the sunlight, the molecules of the sunlight also exist simultaneously. So the souls are eternal, as God is eternal. At the same time, God is the source, maybe not in the chronological sense we are habituated in this world, like you have a husband and a wife, they have a child, and the child did not exist before the husband and wife united. But for the souls and Krishna, the relation is different. The souls always exist, but they're always dependent. Nityo nityanam chitanas chetananam eko bhavunam yo vidadati kamam. They always dependent and they remain always dependent. Just like, for instance, we can see that there are so many advancements on technology, but still we are dependent on the sun coming up every morning, or say from the other point of view, that the earth keeps turning every morning or every day, constantly. So no scientists, no political power, no technologies can do anything. Say if the earth was to stop, one side of the planet in a few hours or a few days will froze completely, all life will disappear, water is being frozen. And and the other side maybe will be will receive too much sun, and that would that may also exterminate all life. So we are living in this universe, in this cosmos, due to a very, very elaborate, very precise fine-tuning of so many things. We need sunlight. We should not have too much sunlight or too less sunlight. We need oxygen, otherwise we can't breathe. There are so many science fiction movies where people live in a post-apocalyptic world or in some other planet, and they have to live outside in artificial conditions, in some sort of housing, and they cannot go outside unless they have all this screening, all these special suits. So, but here we are on this planet Earth, and everything is organized in a perfect way. Now we may, if we are atheistic in nature or we are not very intelligent, Srila Prabhupada says here, unless a person is intelligent, cannot understand the Supreme Personality of God, the Krishna, I cannot understand the arrangements of Krishna. So if we are atheistic, we may just take everything as a source of an explosion with no real reason, with no real plan, with no real intelligence. But actually we see that there is intelligence at all levels, microcosmic and macrocosmic. And we see how there is enough of everything. There is enough food, there is enough vegetation for everybody, not just for human beings. Some religions put humans at the center as if they were all the only important or the only relevant living beings. But actually, in Krishna consciousness, we understand that God is the Father of all creation, of all creatures. In fact, we see how Krishna here says that. Bijamam sarvabhutanam. And it follows through with all the living entity. There's the process of evolutional consciousness through the living, through different bodies. We know, for instance, that we get to the human form either from, say, a lion or a cow or a monkey. And Krishna is following every living entity, knowing their past, their present, and their future. Now, it doesn't mean that because Krishna knows the future, we don't have a free will. Actually, we have free will, and the whole Bhagavad Gita the whole teaching of Bhagavad Gita is based on the free will, that we may want to actually follow Krishna's instruction. When Krishna says, Mamana, you think of me, we can actually choose to think of Krishna. Maybe now we're thinking of so many other things. And we can keep thinking of so many other things. But we need to see the connection. Krishna is not presenting something impractical. In fact, the 6th chapter, when he described the yoga of going to the in a higher place or something, in solitude, and meditate to find the Lord in the heart. Even Arjuna was much more qualified than us. He said, that's not for me. Doesn't seem practical for me. I am a dynamic person, I'm an active person. Krishna is perfectly right. So Krishna is not telling anything impractical. To go, especially for us, it's impractical, to go on the Himalaya and meditate in the heart. But he's telling us in the Bhagavad Gita to recognize him in everything we do. A couple of days ago, we spoke about how he's the taste of water. Today he's intelligent. Nothing can be done without intelligence, some discrimination. We have to understand that intelligence is a gift of God, according to our plans. See, the gifts of God are given, and if we misuse them, they're taken away. Say, for instance, if one uses his intelligence to get drugs, and then he destroys his brain through drugs, and especially heavy drugs, but obviously some effect is in any drugs. And then he loses the intelligence. He may use the intelligence for doing something destructive for himself and for others, and then the intelligence is lost by bad habits, or simply by subscribing to not so intelligent philosophies, not so intelligent principles of life or lifestyles. Sometimes we ask people in the street, so what's your philosophy of life? And sometimes what they say is not really a philosophy. It's just saying, well, don't hurt anybody. But in this world, you cannot not hurt anybody. They don't know what they're talking about. It may sound a little bit, what you call heavy to criticize like that. But when they say, I will not hurt anybody, practically you cannot live without hurting others, because jiva jivasya jivanam. Every living entity is food for another living entity. So even if you're a vegetarian, you're killing the plants. Of course, there may be some, and even by walking in the street, you kill the ants and other living entities. So sometimes people say things which don't make much sense because they don't have the full picture. In what they call philosophy, it's just some very, very basic, elementary, primitive concept of ethics. It's not really philosophy in the sense of understanding the nature of reality. It's just a little bit of, that the attempt or the desire to be good. I want to be good, I don't want to hurt anybody. But in this world, even by living in this world in the normal circumstances, just walking, what to speak of taking a bus or a car, driving even a moped, bike, bicycle, you will hurt others. You will create disturbance. So Krishna explains, unless we do what we do as yagya, as sacrifice, then the reactions will pull us down. So you may say, well, how can I do everything? As yagya, I have a normal job, I go to the office, 9 to 5, I take the metro, take the subway, And then I spend 9 hours there, and then I go back home. How can I do everything as yajna? Well, you can offer the fruits of your actions as sacrifice. Sacrifice means to make it sacred. So you offer the food, of course, should be vegetarian. No meat, fish, eggs, onion, or garlic. So you offer the food, you take it along, make it along, come at home, offer the food to Krishna. And in free time, center the free time on Krishna, chant the holy names of Krishna. When you're listening to something, you're going to the work, half an hour, listen to a podcast, listen to a lecture about Krishna, or listen at least to bhajans and kirtans about Krishna. And then vacations, go to holy places. If India is too far, or it's impractical, or too costly, for many devotees it's too costly, then go to a temple, or go to nearby, or at least do a picnic with the devotees. If there is no temple, make that place spiritual by bringing devotees and by doing spiritual activities. So every one of us can live a life of yajna. Those among us who are more fortunate, or maybe more renounced, or for whatever reason, maybe they all day is a direct yajna, like Sankirtan yajna. Some devotees all day distribute books, distribute knowledge. And somebody cannot yet do that. Maybe he works in a factory, or in an office, or a teacher in some school, but everything can be spiritualized. Everything can be offered as yajna. And Krishna ultimately is telling us how to do it. Bhagavad Gita is not just a theoretical book, it's a handbook, it's a manual. And the culmination is love. We may do first things as just out of knowledge. Oh, okay, maybe a little mechanically, I'm drinking some water, I'm quenching my thirst. Thank you, Krishna. This is the pure taste of water is your taste. And thank you for giving me this opportunity of living. I need water in my body, and you give me this water, and the taste of water is you. And I'm using my intelligence even for daily routine work, some discrimination I'm using. That intelligence is given by you. In fact, it can be taken away any moment. Somebody slips back, hits the head on the ground, it may become completely unintelligent, may lost this thing. So Krishna is teaching us how to live in a state of consciousness. There's so much talk about mindfulness. A mindfulness of what? Just being in the moment. It's not really developing consciousness of the reality. It may be helpful just not to get too involved in the buzz of life, but it doesn't give you information on what is life, what's the goal of life, what's the source of life. So we need the Bhagavad Gita. Bijamam sarva bhutanam. Whatever we see, Krishna says, I am the seed. These are very high, these are very lofty statements, very, you could say, comprehensive statements. But that's the nature of God. He is everything, he is the source of everything, he is the maintainer of everything, and he is the destroyer of everything. So whatever time is given to us, today, tomorrow, we don't know. But whatever time is given to us, let's use it for Krishna. That would be the best use of our time, our intelligence, our money, and everything we have. Because everything actually belongs to Krishna. Thank you for listening. Have a great day or a great night if you are in that part of the world. Hare Krishna.